controversy, information, the truth, and the laws. Anon Radio, UK,
Folks, it's a special. It's the Winston Assange show tonight. I've tried not to think too much about what I'll say. I'd rather just let it free flow tonight and just take it from there. It's good to sort of like refresh your mind about how you feel about things, and it's one of those days where I've been forced into it, and you know, I didn't really. It's a shame because the show requires a lot of effort, and a lot of people have put effort into the show. Some of the people I don't like, and some of the people I liked. Some of the people I thought were good, some of the people I thought were alright, but a lot of people still looked, particularly the fans of the show have been very loyal, and it's always been appreciated. So I'm just sort of undecided really. I don't think the show's not going to continue as it was before. The platform was I was happy to sort of maintain it and keep it going on the basis that we could sort of work together to sort of do some good, but I just see that that's not going to happen now, and I just rather that, you know, let the people that were involved sort of move on and do their own thing. I think they're ready, and I think between them they can create pretty much the same show that we had before, and you know, if they can commit to doing the shows that they were doing, I think it'll be just as successful as what we had before. And to be honest, I think they're already there anyway. So I I don't see the same format coming back on at least on this station. So that's a shame. I'm really going to talk tonight about just the things that have been happening recently, and sort of Tyler, and how we got to Tyler, and how things are going to move forward, and a wee bit of history about Tyler, and maybe sort of the things that have happened this year, and just leave it at that. Doing the radio is something that I didn't particularly want to do. It was something evolved out of necessity. I wanted to. I'm not somebody who's very outgoing. Like, I like to kind of keep to myself, because just I've always been sort of like, I like to do social stuff, but I also like to have my own space, and the radio is very sort of, it's very out there, and it's not something that's easy to do, particularly with an anonymous. It's a very sort of like it's quite a hard thing to undertake. But it's a very successful medium, and I think it's done a lot. Like, there's a proliferation now of Anon channels, and a lot of people are getting into it, and I think it's great. It sort of clouds the issue about anonymity and whether you can be Anon and do the radio, but I think you can. I think it's proved. Like, I've always been against the notion that you had to be anonymous, purely anonymous. I never felt comfortable with that, and I don't think it's something that's healthy. But so that's sort of how the radio started, and that created its, I don't know, I really liked it. Like, it's always been something that I've done with Anonymous, and it's where I felt most comfortable at. It does get the fame fag sort of handle a lot, but I think that most Anons are journalists anyway. I think they're just trying to speak the message of truth, like trying to sort of get people to sort of become aware of what's going on in the world, rather than sort of, you know, I think people have to try and sort of, I think what most Anons, even the bad Anons, try to do is to sort of wake people up, and that means you become a sort of like a sounding board where you just say, listen, this is wrong. And it kind of, it's not this, it's like, a lot of people think Anonymous is about sort of pure hacktivism and just opening up computers and pulling information out. I think it is at the very root, and I'm not here from Anonymous 4chan but B/B, and to be honest, I'm probably at the very opposite of the spectrum from the B/B part of Anonymous, But personally, I think it's about trying to sort of do some good and bring people together and awaken people and sort of point at people and say, listen, you're doing horrible things to this world and you're trying to get away with it and make money from us, and we aren't going to let you do it. We're going to make sure that everybody knows that you're doing it, and you might even begin to see the wrong that you're doing. So that's the way I see it. And there is different aspects. Like doing this shit is really difficult. Doing the anonymous thing is really hard. There is pressures within anonymous. There is stuff outside it. Hi Gar, I'll tell you what's going on, because that's what everybody wants to know. I'm going to start with Tyler rather than just, and let me bring us up to date. In November, I knew that I really needed to have a way to distribute very important information to a lot of people, and not in the same way that you would blog it or just post it out, because that's too easy to sort of trap it, to sort of get it out. So I was waiting for Tyler proper to come and was following the media, and I contacted a few people and was told that it was coming. And then I was told it was live, which filled me with even more optimism, because that's a very key thing, being live. And then I was told that it was live, but it was more of a concept than actually being alive, which started to worry me. And then I actually, when it went live and there was this sort of media sort of wave on Twitter, there was an IRC session, and I asked the admin, I said, where is it? I was essentially told that it wasn't really there. So it was just pure media, essentially. There was nothing other than it was just, even though it was in the papers and stuff and in the magazines and online, that it was live, it wasn't at all, which is very disappointing. And I really was hoping that it was. I was quite disappointed that there was so much media, and yet it was so unfounded. And I tried to warn people and to say, listen, there doesn't seem to be anything to this. But then I felt a wee bit of shame for Anonymous, because I was worried that we would sort of lose a lot of reputation. So there is, I spoke to Pinky, and Pinky and I had the history of me and Pinky is Pinky hacked into this radio station because he got the password from a third party, and we lost quite a lot of media and a lot of sort of listeners because of that. It caused a lot of problems for us, and I forgive him, because he seemed to be apologetic for what he did. And then I carried on doing the radio, and then things seemed to sort of like get better, and then Pinky basically pretended to the collective that I had somehow ambushed him and his girlfriend along with somebody else, and it was sort of more uproar and all the rest of it. And again, I forgive him for doing this and being involved in this sort of stuff. And then so I assumed that we were sort of on we were just basically, given his technical experience, we could kind of look at seeing what was around to see what Tyler candidate would be out there. And this is when we settled on the idea of RetroShare. I was just passed a link, I looked at it, I decided to pursue it. I spoke to RetroShare, and I got the software together, and I reviewed the code, and I was pretty happy with it. And then but reviewing the code, I realized that it was I could see from the code base that this was not something that can be done very, very soon, and to turn that into something that we needed, it would require not just decisions of individuals, but decisions of many, many people. But I saw that there was a strong community that was very sort of aligned with Anonymous there, and it was a very sort of engineering sort of community. So there was a lot of people there with technical skills, and I think that's probably Pinky. So if if somebody from Anon UK rings me again, I'll ring the police, and I'll do it on the radio, and I'll give the real names. Okay, do it. So anyway, before the show, I just saw Dash planning to post my IP address on the Twitter. In fact, his exact words were, alright, that would be them. So 1 second, let me put some music on and then I'll deal with them. Who's that? Who is it? Ash, could you ring me later? I'm on the radio. Ring me at 10:30, mate. That was a bit impulsive of me. So we so they were planning tonight, like, to release my details and stuff, which is just what I expect from Anon UK members. Not everybody. Most of Anon UK is great, but there's a small hardcore which are sort of like, that's just the way it is, you know. I've always known that's the way it is. And if you fall foul of the small hardcore of individuals, then, you know, they just go around making your life a misery. So I've just tried to, like everybody else, just keep away from them and just carry on doing what we needed to do. Tyler seemed to be. Tyler was never going to. With Tyler, we didn't plan for, and I particularly didn't plan for any success. We just wanted to get something out and then get people on board, and then hopefully they would start to sort of see the sense of using this type of software. And unfortunately, it went much bigger than that, and it went really big, and it was like, whoa. It started to sort of like, so after the first night I never saw Pinky again, and you know, I didn't see Pinky in the entire project from then on in, and it was just a case of, we have to, you know, try and make sure, you know, just make sure that we can get people on there, and then we can get as many people on the sort of Tyler framework, and then get people can understand how to use it and sort of access it, and then we can maybe then move it towards what we needed. And but then the more that I understood about this type of framework, I knew that we had to sort of look at it in a more of a, like a large scale project. It wasn't something that was going to be done in a small man group. So the lulz factor is going to be very high tonight. In fact, it's going to be so high even for me. Apparently, 1 second. I better put some music on. I'll be back in a second. Jules! Jules. From where? we're still on. I thought I killed it. 1 second. I thought I'd killed the show. Let me just see. Oh, we're still recording. Awesome. Brilliant. Sorry about that. I had to do something. So is everybody still on? Ambrose is here, which means that there's fun to be had. So basically everybody's gonna, I've been doxed before, and it's basically like a game of chicken to see who is stupid enough to expose each other to the police. I find it brilliant because I'm the one that's already most exposed to the police, and I have absolutely nothing to lose. They are very familiar with me. They know me very well because they would like nothing more than for me to go to them and say, here is Anon's, and honestly they'd be laughing at themselves if I was to turn over and just say, fuck it, I've had enough of this shit. In fact, they would probably be encouraging some of you. But so getting up to Tyler. So Tyler basically grew and grew and grew, and to be honest, it didn't grow in a positive way. It wasn't like loads of people were doing any work. It was a case of most of the people involved were not wanting to do any of the work. So, and that's what caused the problem. So most of the people didn't want to do any of the work, and so that was how it went over Christmas. Nobody did any of the work and everybody was on Christmas holidays, and that meant that we were just able to sort of like, you know, we had to focus on the project and get it out, which happened. And well, Ambrose, I think you know, everybody is involved in Anonymous to some degree. But so anyway, Tyler is a great project because it's not illegal. The tool, the software is very interesting and the concepts are very interesting. But unfortunately, it's one of those things that's just going to attract a lot of attention, like the radio did. I know, well, Paul, the problem is, mate, that most of the Anons who basically like to just get on with it get dragged into this. The everyday Anons who just want to get on and do positive stuff. But at the centre of Anonymous in the UK, like I've dealt with Anons all over the world, but I think within Anonymous in the United Kingdom there's like a cancer in the middle of it, and there's not a lot of people. It's just a handful of them, and like I've just seen it. I think Ambrose is right. Like the cyber side of things just leads to sort of lots of problems, you know, and there is just like I know guys, and it's not positive. We had a great radio station, it was going really well, and then because of all the Tyler, to be honest, Tyler was just an excuse. It was just an excuse to sort of have a crack at me again, and then once that was sort of kicking off, it was the same people, Guy, Pinky, Dash, AJ, and they do it every time. It's the same group of people, and then there's a few other actors like MTA in the background and God knows who else, but it's the same group of people, and just constantly doing the same stuff, you know. And it's like, you know, what can they do? So I'm going to put on some music and then we'll come back to this amazing store saga. But I've got some more really cool stuff to say. Like by the end of the show, it's going to blow your tits off and probably put half of us in jail. those are the days. So, Gar, I think you just have to keep at it in your own way. Like, I'm not going to do the radio stuff anymore like I was, and I'm not going to do anything to do with UK Anons anymore because it's not worth it. I think I just have to focus on, try and focus on your own missions and try and do some good in whatever you can. You know, don't fall into this trap of sort of spending all your time sort of like on the internet trying to, you know, just talking to people and wasting your time. Go and do stuff that's positive, and find a project and just make it work. Like, there's lots of stuff happening in the world, and but don't spend your time just sitting talking about it on the internet. Actually go and do it. And, you know, don't let your anger, this is the problem with, and it's only a small part of the Anon community in the UK, just don't let your anger control who you are, you know, because it just turns you into an idiot. So anyway, how did we end up here today? I've known for a while that some of the people that I was dealing with on the radio were, I've always known were sharing information, conversations, and it was just clear to me that that's the way it was, and that I was just being repeatedly lied to and misled. So I still carried on doing the radio anyway, and I kept going with the same people, and because the mission was far more important than sort of, I just had to get on with it. But things have come to a head because last night there was a wiki that, well, it wasn't last night, it was about 10 days ago, I think, I can't remember exactly, a couple of weeks ago. AJ organised a wiki site through a guy called Jimus. I don't know very well. He provided a server and got us a domain, and we didn't know how to use the software because it was actually, MediaWiki's really complex, and there's like, it logs you and everything. So what happened was the software, but last night, a couple of nights ago, we were trying to get the I was trying to get the site up for I was meant to be doing a presentation tonight, and put it up, and then this morning I looked on it, somebody had tweeted me something like, it was a Twitter account that's used by Pinky to troll people, and he was just basically threatening me with like exposing me, which is quite normal. And I looked at the Twitter account and I realised that Pinky had set up another account called Pinky, and AJ had basically followed him last night. So they'd set up this other account to basically troll me, and then they were following those tweets from their own these other accounts, and it was the same people: Shizm, Gary, AJ, Dash, and like had all joined each other last night just to sort of do this sort of troll. And Jimus had created last night about midnight a new username, like a new admin account on the MediaWiki, and that meant that basically that admin account could then undermine the other admin account, but also it meant that they could just basically do whatever they wanted to the wiki site. So I kind of took screen caps of the various and how they set up these accounts last night to sort of I was quite well organized, you know. Yeah. Well, Gar, I feel really fucked over as well, man, because we had a good show. Everybody was organized and getting on with it, and it was going well. Listen, Gar, there's nothing I can do. I would, you know, these people won't do fuck all. They won't organise anything. They won't do the work. They won't come on the radio. Yes, AJ's always been involved. AJ's always been involved in this. If you look at the Twitter accounts that were followed by this guy that was basically trolling me, you'll see that him and Pinky joined together last night, and that information that I kind of shared with It's just always been the way it is, Gar. Like, it's stuff from the summer. It's not for anonymous. It's just personal. Personal. It's always like this. They'll put more energy into sort of going after somebody and causing them harm than they will for anonymous. Not one of these people have achieved anything for anonymous. I've never heard any of them going out of their way. And I know for a fact from my experiences throughout the year that they have done, you know, the radio station was, to be honest, the best thing that was achieved. And most of the work that was put into that wasn't them. AJ put in a lot of work into the radio station, more than most. But you know, that's the way that their sort of community works, you know. And when I saw AJ and Pinky doing this stuff again, and they've both done this to me before, like both AJ and Pinky have done stuff like this to me before, I was thinking, this is the last time. I don't want to expose myself to any more of this, so well, I think Gar's a real talent, and I think Gar could get together with a number of Anons and put on a really good fucking show. Like, mate, go and do it. I feel really bad, man. Like, but you're gonna have to go and do it because nobody else will do it for you. You've got real talent with the music, and you've got a sort of like bouncy sort of personality. Go and do it. And get like that's the sort of positive stuff that we need as well, you know. Like, you don't want to be you know, you want to keep it positive. You don't want to get into the nasty shit. Oh, come on, Shism. I'd go back to your plan on your shit, man. I didn't blame you, Shism, for last night's shit. I said, go back to planning your stuff on Skype, dudes. Okay? That's all I'm going to say to you. You've let me down, and you've left the whole show down. And I'm not going to go into this. I know for a fact that Pinky and AJ organised it last night. So Jesus, AJ's been planning this with Pinky for ages. Listen, guys, I'm aware of the troll. I'm aware of exactly who hacked into the wiki last night. I went through the logs. I checked the Twitter following changes, and then I had, Jesus Christ, or fucking anybody would recognise Pinky if they ring up. His voice, irrespective of what accent he put on. He's got a particularly unusual speaking style, and it was clear to me that he rang me.